Hi, this is Fred Schultz. I'm running for president. I want to let you know, first of all, we are having a rally, a campaign rally, very peaceful, tomorrow at 1 p.m. That's in just under 23 hours at the Marine Beach in San Diego, the La Jolla part of San Diego, Marine Beach, 1 p.m. tomorrow. Please show up. First of all, I just heard this evil piece of shit, unelected Trump, who says that he's the law and order president. When he broke the number one law, he broke the law by accepting the oath. He lost the election by 3 million votes. He's not the president. He is not legally or morally the president. Yes, I lost my case at the Supreme Court, partially due to, two of the just judges who voted against me had been appointed by him illegally. So, it means nothing. I got Roberts to recuse. Oh, Alito was also appointed by the other previously unelected piece of shit, Bush. Look, we have human rights to democracy. We have constitutional rights to democracy. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights promises that we have human rights to democracy, and that every government in the country, every country in the world promised to uphold those rights. America is not upholding our rights to an equal vote. My vote here in California counted 1/3 of those of the people in Wyoming and half of people in half the country. Those who voted for Hillary Clinton, our vote counted 2/3 of that of Trump. In other words, those who voted for Trump's votes counted 50% more than those who voted for Clinton. That's illegal, disgusting, and certainly immoral. He is not the president. He is not the president. He is not the president. So any order from him is immoral and illegal to follow. He is not the president. I can't say it enough. He is not the president. He is an imposter. A pretender to the throne. It's not a throne even. He thinks he's a king. He's not a king. He had to be elected. He wasn't elected. He lost. He lost. Yes, the, quote, electoral college is illegal. It stole our votes. They stole our votes. They stole our democracy. We don't have a democracy. We have never had a democracy in this country. 5 presidents have been in power, including this piece of shit who lost. Lost! He lost! Now, I am very angry about this murder, first-degree murder, by 4 police people, former police people now, thank God, of George Floyd. Yes, we can say his name over and over. We don't call him by his first name, George, like you knew him, you piece of shit, Donnie. Spoiled little Donnie. You want me to call you by your childhood nickname? I know it. Spoiled little Donnie is what they used to call you. Spoiled little Donnie. Because you're spoiled little Donnie. And yes, I know that your mommy had trouble potty training you because you didn't want to get out of the diapers. Too bad, that didn't work. Too bad long story, my grandmother gave his mom advice how to get him out of diapers. Big mistake, or he'd still be in diapers. Still can't read, but anyway, and he's still the as his mother said, stupider than stupid, stupid, stupid. That's what Trump's mother said. Why? Because he's stupid, stupid, stupid. And evil and corrupt, and but you can't call yourself the law and order president when you assumed power by stealing it. Even if you appointed the judges who helped you steal it. Not to mention corrupt, put in Putin's pocket. He gets off the phone with Putin and then attacks peaceful protesters while he's saying he will protect the righteous voices of peaceful protesters. He is... You can hear the explosions in the background while troops he has commanded to are following his illegal orders, and I call them illegal because he's not the president. And if you are in the military, you have no duty to follow what he says because he is not the president. He is not the president. I can't say it enough. He is not the president. You have no duty to follow what he says. He's not the president. While they're throwing bombs and tear gas, which is illegal, by the way, under, it's banned as a weapon of war, as a chemical weapon. Oh, but we'll use it on our peaceful protesters, sure, because I want a photo op holding up a Bible next to a church that I don't even go to pray in, and holding up a book that he's never read, because he's never read a book, but certainly hasn't read a Bible or lived by the tenets of love. Hell no. Love thy fellow neighbor as thyself. Yeah, he loved the homeless like Jesus was homeless. Did you forget that, Donnie? Jesus was a homeless, peaceful protester. Did you forget that? You never knew it, because you don't read the book. Heard enough of this from this piece of shit. And yes, I'm very angry at all these black men who are murdered. Freddie Gray, George Floyd, so many. I mean, I can't even say it. So many. But it's not just black people. Let's not forget this. There are our nation wrongfully arrests 10 million people a year. The vast majority of them, yes, wrongful arrests for illegal, unconstitutional, immoral, victimless crimes. Our nation was not founded on the concept that it's okay to arrest people who don't hurt or rob others. As Thomas Jefferson said, the legitimate powers of government extend to such acts as are injurious to others. And then he said something about not robbing and not hurting people. Meaning, if you don't hurt or rob somebody, you are not breaking a law, and the government doesn't have a right to arrest you. The vast majority of our arrests are for victimless and consensual crimes. When Eric Garner screamed, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe," you know what he was? Just like George Floyd, "I can't breathe," and then called "Mama, Mama, I can't breathe, I can't breathe." Do you know what Eric Garner was being arrested for? Allegedly selling a cigarette. Allegedly! Selling a single cigarette to try to survive. George Floyd was arrested for allegedly attempting to knowingly pass pay for something with a counterfeit $20 bill. Now, did he know? Did he put it on his printer? Did he print it on his printer? Who knows? We do know he, like most American, like 1/3 of the workforce, has lost his job in the last 2 months, not due to COVID-19 or coronavirus, whatever you call it, due to the lockdown. The lockdown that these stupid governors imposed in response to COVID-19. This disease they haven't even proved it has a higher death rate than the flu. 0.1% death rate. They have not proved. They don't even know. In New York, it might be up to 1%. In Iceland, it might be as low as 1/8%. Meaning the death rate in New York might be up to 80 times higher. Why? Because people in New York, well, they breathe, they suck in some fumes, they live closely together, and the main thing is they eat too much sugar and processed food. You wanna live, you wanna survive this disease like I did? I can tell you how. I didn't suffer that much, thank God. I suffered a lot more when I got my only flu shot I've had in the last several decades. 5 years ago, when that big flu came around, I got a flu shot. I was sick for a week. I was a fraction of that amount sick for this new coronavirus. Obviously, some people die, obviously. But Trump could have saved most of them by the second he assumed power through illegally. He could have started put out contracts to manufacture N95 masks. Even better, maybe N100 masks. They just did a test that came out in the New York Times today. N95 masks have a 96% chance of preventing the virus, and then the regular surgical masks have a 76% chance of preventing the virus from getting through to you. Well, maybe the N100 masks will be better. My point is they should have manufactured billions and billions and billions of these, so no health worker would die, so no American would die if we ever had a pandemic, so certainly we could have enough masks to protect those at risk. Now, I am very, very, very furious, as most Americans are, about all of this, vandalism, too. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible. But, people they're furious about these wrongful arrests, and they're furious about imposed poverty. That doesn't give them a right to riot. And it's not right. And it's ruining, it's stealing from the voices of peaceful protests. It's stealing from the voices of the peaceful protests. But while Trump says he's there, he wants to protect the voices of the righteous voices of peaceful protesters. He is having his attack, his troop, he is ordering, and the troops are following his illegal orders to attack peaceful protesters with bombs and chemical weapons. That's evil! Don't follow his illegal orders. I am the only president who has vowed to uphold our human rights as they are supposed to be upheld by the Constitution. I will enforce our human rights. I will enforce our constitutional rights. That means I will stop arresting about 10 million Americans a year. I will pardon almost all Americans who have been convicted of breaking laws, meaning because almost all of them have been convicted of breaking victimless and consensual crimes like drug use or sales or possession, sex work, gambling. Those are the main ones. Drinking and driving. It's just been, if you hurt somebody, fine, then you should go to jail. If you don't, and you're not a real risk to people, then you shouldn't. They just determined recently in a New York Times study that the two major breathalyzer companies were making machines that gave a 50% high, up to 50% high reading, meaning that they wrongfully convict about 1 million people a year. A year! Ruin about 1 million people's lives a year. There's about 70 million people with criminal records who can never get another job, who can never rent an apartment again. Wrongfully. I was wrongfully arrested 20 years ago, twice for, quote, drinking and driving. Yeah, had I had 2 or 3 drinks? Yes. Was I over the legal limit? No, but the machine said I was. Was I in any way impaired? No, but the cops still saw fit to torture me the second arrest. Torture me with those handcuffs. They had them on so long and so tight that I was screaming, and they said, "Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!" They weren't going to loosen them. They tortured me till I had permanent nerve damage in my hands and my thumbs, and I still have permanent nerve damage in my thumbs. It's supposed to repair after 6 months. Well, it didn't. Yeah, they tortured me. They torture almost every American during arrest. Now listen, please be peaceful when you protest. Please, at our campaign rally tomorrow at 1 p.m. on the beach, we will be very peaceful. You will have the option to socially distance, but we will be protesting peacefully against this lockdown, against social distancing, against police murders, against wrongfully arresting us, and against certainly all of this rioting. And for, justice. That means, first of all, a wealth tax so that the wealthiest 1% of our population starts, paying their fair share so the rest of us can have our human rights enforced. We have human rights to a basic income, as Thomas Paine fought for and inspired revolutionaries to fight for during our country. A lot of the revolutionaries were inspired to fight against oppression by the British and for a basic income. It's in his pamphlet called Agrarian Justice. So yes, I want a 1%. I mean, I want to tax the 1% a few tiny percentage points, and the billionaires 50% of their net worth. Yeah. Yeah, and I want to do away with state and local taxes. We can go into all the details. That's not the point. The point is, we need a basic income for people right now because we're in the midst of a depression. For over 41 million Americans have lost their jobs. We have 30 million children starving to death. About 5 million of them the government has helped to feed, and about 25 million are starving to death. I don't know how many tens of millions of adults are starving to death, but it's probably around 50, 60 million now, who knows? And if we keep up this depression, it's going to be 100 million soon sleeping in their cars. And if we keep it up longer, it'll be 150 million sleeping in their cars and starving. And if you think you can trust the government to feed you, well, no, they're letting children starve right now. Should they be feeding us? Yes, but better, let us go back to work. Let us go back to work. Let us go back to work. I'm sure that if George Floyd printed that $20 bill, I'm sure it was because he was starving, or maybe he just wanted cigarettes, which was very stupid to print that thing, but it doesn't give you a right to kill him. Should have been a ticket. They didn't even know they were approaching him. The police didn't know they were even approaching him for burning a 20 if he had done it. They thought they were approaching him for public drunkenness. Certainly don't have to arrest someone for public drunkenness. My God. He was screaming, "I can't breathe," before before they even had their knees on him. He might have been in distress because of the handcuffs. Handcuffs, as I said, in general, they are a means of torture, not control, or you would use 2 sets of handcuffs. Torture, 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 torture. Anyway, yes, I want a wealth tax. We will, as they say, tax the rich. And no, if you're wondering if you're rich, you're not rich. The wealth tax starts at that I have proposed at 2% wealth tax for those with a net worth over 10 million. I mean, currently states and localities charge about 1% at least for those state and local taxes. So we're not talking much more. But we would have free college, public and private, forgive student loans, free health care, free housing for the homeless, reduced housing costs for everyone else. And as I said, a basic income, $3,000 per month per adult is what I'm proposing right now, $1,500 per minor. And I do want to try to, I do believe we must lower the voting age to 16 and, stop all these arrests of all of us for, using drugs, or that's the main crime. I mean, even that piece of shit Trump the other day was talking about how people are going to start using more drugs if we don't get the economy open. Well, he has not sued one governor. He says he wants to, but he wants to, quote, open the economy now, right after he was telling us all to close down, all the governors to close down the economy. Look, even if it is not right to steal the future of our nation's youth, to steal all of our economic activity because, under 1% of the population can't handle the new virus. We must, I don't want to hurt anyone. We need to put masks on everybody at risk. But besides the elderly, those who are, even most of the elderly, can benefit by going off of sugar and processed foods. There's a doctor, an Indian doctor of Indian descent who is in London, cardiologist. I can't remember his name right now. Dr. Robert Lustig quoted an article by him. Robert Lustig is the famous anti-sugar fighter. But he says that if you go off of sugar and processed foods within a few weeks, you can improve your immune system to suffer much less or not at all if you get the coronavirus, and survive versus die if you get it. So within a few weeks, most people can change their immune system and metabolism enough to survive versus die of COVID. Even if you're obese, even if you have heart disease, diabetes, you can reverse all these things. Anyway, okay, I better go now. I got to start contacting the media and all of my supporters out there who, serious. I have a lot of people who, thank God, support the campaign. Now, this campaign is not just about me and all of us. or about ending the police attacks on all of us. The point is, I've started something called the Love Party. Now, granted, it's not an official party yet, but can get that done. My point is, it's very simple. If these governors will not, I mean, Trump isn't suing them. I spent 3 years trying to throw out Trump. That didn't go too well. I worked very hard for 3 years. I don't have any faith in these judges right now, especially as most of them, a huge percentage of them were appointed by the Republicans. By the way, as an aside, I do intend, if I can get elected, to remove all judges from power through, what do we call it? Impeachment. Remove all the judges for violating the Constitution. I mean, between 1 and 4 of those on the left, I mean, I got Roberts to recuse. So between 1 and 4 of those on the quote left, voted to keep Trump in power, despite the fact that he lost the election, and despite the fact that hundreds of psychiatrists have made it clear that he's a threat to all life on Earth. And Philip Roth, before he died, said, he jeopardizes all life on Earth because he has his finger on the nuclear button, and he's angry, evil, and deranged and stupid. But Law and Order, my ass. He's the most corrupt president in history. Putin's puppet. Why do you think he was fighting against to arrest the FBI? Because they were busting him for treason. He's lucky I don't believe in the death penalty, and I don't. But we will lock up the piece of shit and all of his henchmen who have committed a crime. And a lot of them have. Starting with Flynn. Kushner says, I can't guarantee we're going to have elections. Oh, really? I can. You don't have to risk your life to vote. And with the basic income, you won't even have to risk your life to work. Because you are risking your life to work. There's no question. You won't have to. Anyway, okay, I could go on, and I will. And I have before, and I will again. But for now, please. Oh, yeah, I was going to say, what we have to do is remove these governors. We have to impeach and remove the governors. The judges, yes, every judge for both supporting this, there's my thumb, for supporting and, for opposing our right to an equal vote, and number 2, for opposing our right to a fair trial. Why do I say they have opposed our right to a fair trial? Because we have, as jurors, as defendants, and facing trial or in a civil trial, or as jurors on a jury, we have a right to what's called jury nullification. We have a right to vote not guilty for any reason. If we believe the law in question is immoral, if we believe the law in question is unconstitutional, if you believe the law in question would violate the rights of the person, or just is immoral in its application in this case, or illegal in its application, or, not right in its application in this case, you have a right to judge the law, not just to decide if the facts say that the law, as interpreted to you by the prosecutor and judge, if you don't just have to decide if the facts fit the law that the judge tells you, you get to decide if the law in question is moral. It's called jury nullification. And a few years ago, I had been taught about this my first week in law school by incredible professors at Georgetown, who I loved. Shout out to all of you. Michael Seidman, who I love. Gary Peller, who I love. Mark Tushnet, who I loved. God, I can't remember them all. Eskridge, Professor Eskridge. I can't remember his first name. I loved all these who had a big role in the fight for gay marriage. And I've been running for president for 19 years now. I've been a lifelong activist for human rights, but for 19 years I've been running as a write-in, and it's time already. I'm sick of this. I am getting sick of this. I mean, I love standing up for our rights, but I am sick of having to fight against police murders, against wrongful arrests. I'm sick of having to fight for, a wealth tax and a basic income, and for health care and free college. I mean, and free trade school. I mean, I'm angry to simply having housing for all, the richest country in the world, and we have 50 million people, sleeping on other people's couches. And you know what they're doing now? They're taking away your job by disallowing you to work in the name of protecting your health. And then what are you going to be doing? You're going to be either in your car or on the streets soon. How does that help your health? Or in a shelter where they say they're protecting you, but you're going to be 6 feet away from people. 6 feet away from people in a cot. You don't think you're going to get sick with that virus? I do. The social distancing, I'm sorry. We have a right to work. We have a right to go to a bar. And no, I'm not fighting for this because I want to have my nails done. I've never had my nails done in my life. I've gone to a bar about once a year in the last many years. It's not about me wanting to go to a bar. Yes, I occasionally go to restaurants. It's about having the right to go on with public life. You think the restaurants can stay in business with 6 foot distancing? You think that private businesses can? No. All you have to do to live, you don't even have to wear a mask. Eat right. Eat mostly raw vegetables, some steamed vegetables, maybe fish oil pills, maybe flaxseed oil pills, and maybe some fish. That's it. You'll live. You'll boost, and vitamins every day, raw garlic every day. You will live. Not everyone, but over 99.9% will live. We can get our death rate down to that of Iceland, for God's sake, or lower. They have a 1/8 of 1/10 of 1% death rate, meaning 1/8 of the average death rate of the flu. And by the way, that's just the average death rate of the flu. 2.5 years ago, there was a flu in Australia that had a 0.25% death rate, meaning 2.5 times that of the regular flu, meaning well, it depends. If you go by the actual numbers of the Santa Clara study done by Stanford, then the actual numbers say that this virus has a 0.33% death rate for that locality. In Germany, it also had a 0.33% death rate. So, but as I said, it depends where you live and how you eat. Please stop the obesity. Stop the diabetes. If you want to really lose the weight, you can do what's called HIIT. High-intensity interval training with 7 minutes a day. You can lose enough weight, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, whatever, 14 times. You can lose enough weight within a few months. But within a few weeks, just by stopping sugar, you can boost your immune system by stopping the processed foods. We can't steal the future of today's youth. We have no right. They can't go to school. They can't get a job. We're going to have 1 billion people starving to death soon. And then we're going to have 2 billion starving to death. And even if they don't starve to death, their immune systems will be weakened enough that they're going to die of other diseases or of COVID. Some doctors already say we have more people dying of other diseases more than COVID due to people not going to hospitals. And by the way, you talk about flattening the curve. Well, you know what flattening the curve does? It stretches it out. We need immunity now for everybody who has a strong immune system. So you boost your immune system, then you get the virus while protecting everybody else, and most people will live. And if you say, oh my God, that's horrible. It's horrible. No, we have no guarantee, and I wouldn't even bet on the world having enough vaccines or even our nation having enough vaccines, if they ever develop one, by the time that the whole world gets it. And just so you know, when Italy had a lot of people dying at one point, first of all, obviously, when you take college students and send them home to their elderly parents or middle-aged, what do you think happens? They all get it. But beyond that, when Italy was having trouble, they called the head of the Chinese Red Cross, who's obviously in the pocket of the Chinese Communist Party, but that's not the point. They called him and said, well, we have all these people dying. Why? We have a lockdown, but all these people are dying. He said, he looked at their system. He said, well, you have people taking public transportation. You have people going to the supermarkets. You have people having private parties. Yes, that's how free societies work. And this whole contact tracing, are you kidding me? Yes, we need testing to know who has it. And it would be nice to be able to get a free antibody test instead of having to spend $150 like I'm going to have to soon. But, we need free testing just to know who's had it. And if you have it, great. And we need enough, to test the whole world every day, ideally. But as far as this contact tracing goes, are you kidding me? Have you seen these protests in the streets, these peaceful protesters? Risking their lives not to be attacked by police, but also risking their lives from this virus. I mean, are you kidding me? There's no contact tracing. It's not going to do any good. It's too late. Maybe all of this would have, locking everything down and shutting it down would have worked if we had stopped it day one. But the disease had probably been going on for months before the Chinese even figured it out. No, contact tracing will not work. Sorry to burst your balloon. Now, as far as the accuracy of the tests, I don't know about the accuracy of the virus tests. I do know that our local blood bank here in San Diego has a test that they say is, for antibodies, that they say is 99% plus accurate. Great. They don't know if I'm immune for, we won't know if I'm immune for months, years, or forever. I'm betting on between years and forever. And I guess that as long as it's if it's months or years, and and there's an attempted reinfection by the disease on your body, then you get more antibodies. Then you're immune again. Then you're immune again. Then you're immune again. Now, just one more brief thought about this whole, peaceful protest. Yes, it's very important. Civil disobedience, peaceful protests, and voting and running for office. I beg you all to run for office, to remove these governors from office so we can stop arresting us for victimless crimes, support our human rights to a basic income, etc., housing, food, college, and right to work, right to go to a bar, to work, to have a job, to support our families. But, wait, hang on, what was I going to say? I can't remember right now. Anyway, yes, we need to vote. We need to vote, vote, vote. Now, the one thing that does scare me very much, I have heard recently from a friend, and I looked it up, there was a Mother Jones article that Trump and the Republicans in the last few years have illegally taken 17 million legitimate voters, citizens, off of the voting rolls. They've stolen the right to vote from 17 million of us. Million! These evil piece of shits have stolen the right to vote from 17 million of us! Now, why do I intend... Oh, yes, I forgot to explain about jury nullification. You have the right to vote not guilty. This, for whatever reason, Scalia and Breyer gave a speech about this at the Senate Judiciary Committee headed by Senator Leahy. I remember Senator Whitehouse had a good discussion with them about this about 7 years ago. Can't remember the exact date. You can look it up, and now you can even find the transcript. However, in the last 100 years or so, it used to be upheld as a central tenet of American law that you have the right to vote not guilty. It was one of the central bases of American law, and before that of the Magna Carta. As Scalia, the piece of shit, put it, it is the last, our last bulwark against totalitarianism. Ironic, I know, to hear from. But yes, so he's right about that, though. It's the last bulwark against totalitarianism. By the way, I was also the first candidate when I started running 19 years ago to fight to legalize gay sex. All the other... gay sex was illegal in about 25 states when I started running. And you say, oh, they'd never enforce that piece of shit law. Yeah. In law school, we learned that in the South, some police would hear that there was like a local gay couple. I wish I were making this up. And they sat there, staking them out. What do you call it? Stalking them, looking through their blinds until they caught them having sex. And then they're like, you're busted, buddy! Shout out to South Park. You're busted, buddy! So I was fighting to legalize gay sex decades now. Well, actually, they followed through. The Supreme Court was embarrassed enough, and then Scalia in his dissent said, well, if you legalize gay sex, then you have to go ahead and legalize drugs, prostitution, I think he said gambling. I'm like, hello? Anyway, so for the first 150 years of our nation, jury nullification was considered the centerpiece of our, judicial system. There was even once a judge nominated for the Supreme Court who had been found to have not told a jury about their right to quote nullify, meaning vote not guilty for whatever reason they so choose. By the way, the judge will not, that man was not put on the Supreme Court. He was I think one of the only recent judges in history up to that point who had not been put on the Supreme Court because he did not tell the jury about their right to nullify. But in the last 100 years, there have been some cases by some evil, totalitarian, authoritarian judges who who prize their power more than the people's power. And, excuse me. Not for saying that, for the burp. Anyway, and, if you're in the last 100 years, they have not allowed this. So in other words, if you're a lawyer and you have a client and you're defending them, it's supposed to be in civil and criminal cases. But in law school, we only learned about criminal, but I heard Scalia talk about civil. Anyway, if you're a lawyer and you attempt to tell the jury of their right to vote not guilty, the judge will lock you up for contempt of court. If you are on a jury and you tell the jury of their right to do this, they will throw you off the jury and they might disband the whole jury. All right, rally tomorrow, 1 p.m. Stop killing us. I can't breathe. Justice for Floyd. Free the slaves. Free the 2 million. Our bodies, our rights. Enough already. Okay, I love you all. My God, and yes, Black Lives Matter. Everyone's lives matter. We have a right to freedom, not torture and murder. Enough! Okay, and please run for office the second you can, all of you 17-year-olds. Start your campaigns now, so the second you are 18, we can push out these evil pieces of shits. Love you all. Peace out. See you tomorrow, 1 p.m. on the beach. Rain or shine. And we're going to be very peaceful. And we're going to stop this lockdown shit and them stealing our futures, our presents and our futures. Enough. I'm going to certainly stop all of this rioting, but we're going to peacefully. Let me just say one more thing about the non-peaceful protesters. In San Diego the other day, what happened here, there had been a young black man. I don't know his name. I forgot it. I heard it once. I forgot it. I will look it up and say it a million times. But there was a video that circulated on social media of him in La Mesa being harassed and wrongfully arrested. The policeman accused him of assaulting him during arrest when the cop had no right to arrest him or even approach him. He was sitting on a bus stop waiting for some friends. The cop said, "Are you waiting for the bus?" He said, "No, I'm waiting for my friends." The friends showed up, and then he arrested him anyway and, pushed him and twisted his arm behind him and put on the cuffs so tight that he was being tortured. So that video went around. The community got very angry, rightfully so. That happened Wednesday. Thursday, the video went around on social media. Friday, there was a crowd of a few dozen peaceful protesters outside of the police station yelling things at them. For hours, I think. One of those peaceful protesters was a African-American grandmother. Black. Whatever you say. There's no such thing as race, but there's certainly ethnicity. Race is a Nazi concept. We'll get into that later. Nazi Trump believes in that concept. He certainly believes in white and black, and I don't. But we all have our own special ethnicities. I'm Jewish. Proudly Jewish. And whites didn't used to call me white anyway, but that's another issue. there used to be signs, no Jews or dogs and all that shit. Fuck you. Anyway, my point is, there were mostly peaceful protesters there. And from what I hear, according to the news, wonderful newswoman looked like she knew what she was talking about. Some people started throwing water bottles, I'm sure plastic water bottles, and allegedly rocks at the police, which is not only wrong to do, but you're going to piss off the police. Most police are not these murderous or even hateful or even wrongfully arresting pieces of shit, but some obviously are. And obviously they like to pick on black people and brown people more than lighter-skinned people. That's obvious. But not all of them. Just, I believe, a minority. But they're certainly prominent. They're certainly out there, and they're certainly ruining the lives of many. And obviously, young black men are arrested at a rate 5 times that of light-skinned, what they call white people. 5 or 6 times. I think it's over 30% of black men have a felony conviction. And the thing to do, no, we don't want to arrest, quote, white people at the same rate. That's ridiculous. These people don't get it. We have to take away the government's ability and these police people's ability to arrest us for victimless crimes. They are over 90% of the arrests. And even if they have arresting people who have hurt people, God forbid. First of all, if we have a basic income, we take away these drug laws, you're going to have a lot less violence out there, but much less. But if people out there are doing violence, I'm not saying they don't deserve punishment, but under our current system, if you go to jail, you're getting tortured, you're getting raped every day maybe, many, certainly being tortured and enslaved every day. Now, most countries don't imprison people even for murder for more than 10 years. I don't think any country jails people for more than 10 years for murder. America, we kill many, and then we jail a huge percentage for decades and decades, not to mention for just having a pocket full of some this or that drug. Meanwhile, you know what the most deadly drug in the world is? Addictive and deadly drug. You probably don't. Or you're thinking, crack. No. Sugar. You know how many deaths all illegal drugs cause in the world combined? You know how many deaths? Probably don't. Okay, there's, by the way, 7.8 billion people in the world. Getting ahead of myself. 7.8 billion people in the world. You know how many of them die? Okay, so, of illegal drug use every year? 200,000 worldwide. Excuse me. Now, yes, I believe we should have the right to suicide. We should have the right to do to our bodies as we wish. We do have the right to do to our bodies as we wish, but the government illegally steals that right. And yes, I believe in our right to suicide, to assisted suicide, to abortion, of course. That's not even a crime. Our bodies, our rights. None of these things are legally crimes, are morally crimes, you know? I mean, a baby isn't a baby till it's born. Before that, it's called a fetus. It's part of the mommy, not its own life. Doesn't have any civil or human rights. Till it's born, then it's a life. Can't live without the mother till it's born. It's part of the mother till it's born. Then it's a human. Then it's a life. Before that, it's a part of the mother that she has a right to cut out, especially as, pregnancy is often a cause of death of the mother. So, of course, a mother has a right to end a pregnancy. Potential mother, Anyway, what was I saying? Our bodies, our rights. I forgot. Too much to say. Okay, anyway, sorry, I lost my train of thought. It's getting hot in here. Love you all. I'll see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Now I got to put out the word to the Twitter people and the TikTok people at Fred2020. And, or you can look hashtag Fred2020. My Twitter is at Frederick Esquire. I know I didn't get that. Anyway, it's because Esquire means lawyer, or I guess it used to mean knight. I don't know. I loved that movie with Denzel Washington, by the way. Um, about a righteous lawyer who did an unrighteous thing. Um, Look, um, enough already. I am mourning for George Floyd. I am mourning for all of those wrongfully murdered by police. I am mourning for all of us wrongfully arrested, and I'm certainly mourning, and I'm praying that we can have some peace. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. So this grandmother was out there protesting. Some people started throwing rocks and water bottles at the police, and the police responded by shooting rubber bullets and tear gas with chemical weapons at the crowd. Now, I would hope that I know they could have dispersed the crowd without attacking them, certainly without attacking the peaceful people. But they just wantonly shot these rubber bullets. Now, I've been doing research. I'm not sure whether rubber bullets are now actually rubber or whether some are just metal bullets coated in rubber. I believe that now rubber bullets are rubber, but I don't know. But anyway, the police shot this grandmother with a rubber bullet right here, and it lodged into her head. It looked like it was that deep. And it knocked her over, and she cracked her head, and she's in the intensive care unit, and I believe she's fighting for her life. And she was peacefully protesting. My point is, please, keep it peaceful. That also means no vandalism, please. It not only doesn't help anyone, you're attacking people who are likely on your side and likely also very upset about this murder. And, you're robbing from people who, if you rob them, they'll never be able to be in business again. They're going to be homeless soon now, too. That's not right. Many of them don't have insurance. That's not right. These are people who had nothing to do with harming George and are very furious about it. Like many of the police are. I'm sure most of the police are. We got to lock these guys up for murder. But no, I don't believe in life in jail. I think 10 years, no more than 10 years for anyone for a crime. But certainly, we need to help teach them how to be humans. It's disgusting how he murdered, they as a group murdered that poor man, George Floyd. Disgusting and horrible. Watch him being tortured and murdered in front of our very eyes. A real crime. Okay, justice for George. Love you all. See you soon. Peace. Thank you for everything you do every second to fight for a more just and peaceful world. Together we will build a more peaceful world. Together. All of us together. And we're going to lock up these authoritarian piece of shit Trump and his lackeys. Everyone who commits a crime in his name is getting locked up. When I'm president. And please tell the pollsters you support me. Run for office yourself, but tell the pollsters or we're not going to win. Once we get in the polls, then we can win. Because if I'm losing and we have a month to go before this election and I'm conceding to Biden because he's better than this piece of shit Trump, Trump will kill us all. He'll kill us all if we don't. I had a predictive nightmare that he would kill most of us and enslave the few survivors if we don't get rid of him. I don't mean kill him. I mean unless we, get him out of power and then make him pay for his crimes. And those who are his henchmen. These Nazis, these, quote, white supremacists. Enough already. Okay, and these dictators and their henchmen. Enough already. Lock them up. Love you all. See you tomorrow. Thank you. Please, Fred 2020. And you 2020. You 2020. Love you all. See you soon. Bye. Thank you. Peaceful. Love. Love. Love party. Thank you. Mourning and crying inside. Never again. Love you all. See you tomorrow. See you on the campaign trail. Love you. Bye. Oh, if you want to donate, please go to fred4prez.us. Fred, number 4, prez, Prez.us. Or www.fredforpresident.us. spelled out, then 2020.com. Okay, love you all. See you soon. Bye. Enough of this shit. Oh, and by the way, Biden, just so you know, Biden, he supported these victimless crimes. He supported locking up, he said, lock up the SOBs, lock up the SOBs. He supported these, quote, mandatory minimums, which caused thousands and thousands of judges to resign in protest. He supported these mass incarceration. He supported this mass slavery. The Republicans did more, but he teamed up with the segregationists to support this mass incarceration. Enough already. No victim, no crime. Fred 2020. Love you all. Free the slaves. Woo! Love party. Run. You. Thank you. Bye.